Well, welcome everybody. Welcome to Church at Home. Today we are super honored to get to spend a few moments with you as we celebrate Mother's Day. Now, today I have my beautiful mom, Rose, is with me today, and she's going to share a little bit later on in the service. But if you're a mom watching today, we have several $100 gift cards that we're going to give away in each service to Amazon.com. If you're watching today, we'd love to be able to do that. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to give you a few numbers and letters and then invite you at the very end to text in to the combination of those. We're going to give you a few right now, a few a little bit later, and then a few towards the end. And as you watch, if we give you those letters, just write them all together. They'll all go in order and no spaces in between them. And then you'll text them in at the end. And out of that, we will kind of draw a few that are going to win $100 gift cards to Amazon.com. We're all using Amazon right now because we don't get to go shopping. So we'd love to be able to bless you and help you get some things that you might need around your house. So the first two letters that I have for you today and numbers are number one, the number one, and then the letter A. 1A. Those are the first two. Now, if you're watching us today and you're joining, I know that this seems a little weird, church in our living rooms. So here's what we can do to make this a little bit better and a little bit more sacred. Let's realize that right now we're focusing on Jesus. So maybe take a moment and minimize the distractions around. Maybe don't take that call. Don't respond to that text. Don't do those things that maybe you normally would. Just allow your heart and your mind to focus on what's going on right now. Now, if you're with us and you're new, we're so thankful to get to spend a few moments with you. Vortex Church exists for people just like you. We believe that God has invited us into a lifelong journey of putting Him at the center of everything we do. And right now is an opportunity for you to do that. You can make God the center of your living room. So let's do that. Let's worship in our living rooms today. Now today, as we get ready to get started, we do like to remind you and that this is a moment where you can actually give. You can go online to give.vortexchurch.com and you can give digitally. You can even text in at the number that's being shared the phrase Vortex Gives, and it'll walk you through the steps to giving online. The reason we do that is because collectively, as we give, God is doing amazing things through your generosity. A few weeks ago, we shared that we were able to feed 500 families in our community that were struggling. And we were able to do that because of your generosity. Well, here's what's awesome. This week, we were able to team up with our local outreach partner. We were able to do that again. We were able to give and feed 500 more families. We were able to do that this week because of your generosity. We are so thankful to be able to partner with you and do that. And the reason we can do that is because there are people just like you that are being generous. Thank you so much for that, because it gives us a way to change the world together. I mean, we don't have an organization that's sending us big wads of money to pay for all the bills. We do this because there are people like you that believe in what we're doing and who are willing to sacrifice and give. So thank you so much for doing that. Now, as we take a few moments right now, what I want to do is I want to invite you to get your heart ready as we get ready to worship.
But this question of fear, we're all afraid of it. And there are things in relationship to this fear that you and I have to recognize. That if you trust in God and let Him be your guide and strength, you won't have that fear. And your fear is in relationship to your trust. As your faith in God gets stronger, your fear dissipates. And as your faith in God gets weaker, your fear arises. You want to have fear dissipated and removed, then you rise up and hold up the name of the living God and look to Him to undertake for you, and He will. It's our faith that brings victory. It's our faith that casts out fear and enables us to put our trust in the blessed Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. We will worship the man of Galilee who went to a cross 2,000 years ago, and no one can take His place. No one will intercede or interfere. We will not permit it. So it is we have faith without fear.
Darkness tries to roll over my bones, and sorrow comes to steal the joy I own, and brokenness and pain is all I know. Oh, I won't be shaken. No, I won't be shaken. 'Cause my fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. My fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. My fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. Shame no longer has a place to hide. I am not a captive to the lies. Not afraid to leave my past behind. No, I won't be shaken. No, I won't be shaken. 'Cause my fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. My fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. My fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. Here we go, there's power. There's power that can break off every chain. There's power that can empty out a grave. There's resurrection power that can save. There's power in your name. Power in your name. There's power that can break off every chain. There's power that can empty out a grave. There's resurrection power that can save. There's power in your name. Power in your name. My fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. My fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. My fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. Oh, oh, my fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. My fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. My fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. Oh.
Well, moms, today is your day. It's a day to say thank you for loving us, caring for us, and guiding us. It's a day to recognize all you do and all you are to us. You are perfect, wonderful, amazing children. Thanks for all the early mornings and for taking care of the things we take for granted. Thanks for never giving up on us, even when we stress you out. Thanks for making sure we have what we need and for giving us your heart even when you're sick and tired. Thanks for working hard even when we're a handful and for loving us unconditionally when our attitude is anything but lovable. You're our everything, Mom, and we'd be a mess without you. Today, we thank God for the wonderful gift of you. Happy Mother's Day.
Well, welcome everybody. It is Mother's Day 2020. It's so good to have you with us, especially if you're a mom, especially if you have a mom. I mean, that's all of us, right? So we're so excited to have all of you with us today for Mother's Day. Now, today we announced earlier in the service that we're giving away several $100 gift cards to Amazon, and we're doing that in each service. And so we've asked you to keep track of some letters and numbers throughout this. And so I'm going to give you 3 more right now that you're going to add to the ones that you heard, and then there's going to be some more later on. Those letters are M-A-M. So add those to what you got at the beginning. We're going to give you some more later on. Now, as we get ready to celebrate Mother's Day, I'm super excited to be here with my mom. She's going to be dropping some wisdom on us as we kind of go through and think about parenting today. I love my mom. She's Rose Simmons. I'm going to let her introduce herself a little bit later. But if you know my mom, she's served at our church. She's been on staff with us since we started. I'm so thankful for all the work she's done. Now, what I know about parenting, and we know because we have 3 kids at home. We have an 8-year-old daughter, a 6-year-old son, and a 3-year-old little boy. And I know this to be true. Parenting is hard work. It is hard. Some of y'all are in your living rooms right now. You're going, yeah, amen, it is. It is hard work. Parenting is hard work. It takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of work mentally to be a good parent. It's draining. That's why you get to the end of the day, you're like, I just need a break. Can y'all leave me alone for a little bit? It's draining emotionally. There are days that at the end of the day, when you've done parenting right, you just feel like I poured out all that I had. And then if we're doing it right, it's spiritually draining as well. You know, one of the most exhaustive passages in the Bible about being a parent comes out of Deuteronomy 6. Deuteronomy was written thousands of years ago by a man named Moses. We know Moses as the prophet who led the children of Israel out of the slavery in Egypt. Moses wrote Deuteronomy right before he was about to die. It's kind of his last letter as he's handing over the leadership reins to young Joshua. And in that, he's about to retell the 10 Commandments. Now, as he's about to retell them, he drops this on us in Deuteronomy 6. Think about this. This is thousands of years ago. It still applies to our lives today, even though it was written such a long time ago. In Deuteronomy 6, he says this: "These commands that I give you today are to be on your hearts. Impress them on your children. Talk about them when you sit at home and when you walk along the road, when you lie down and when you get up. Tie them as symbols on your hands and bind them on your foreheads. Write them on the door frames of your houses and on your gates." You know, I love that even though this scripture was penned thousands of years ago, it still applies to our lives today. When I listen to it, when I read it, I'm like, that sounds like a lot of hard work. It sounds like so much effort. And it is, but it's good work. And in that passage, Moses shows us what I like to call the 4 windows of influence into a child's life. It's real simple. The first one that he gives us is that when you're at home, you have great influence with your kids. Maybe that's when you gather together every day to have a dinner together. Maybe that's what your family does. Maybe it's when you sit around and play board games. Maybe it's when you're watching a TV show or when you're out back sitting on the deck. Whenever you're together at home, you have influence in your children's lives. The next one is when you're traveling. When you have your kids on the way to school, when you have your kids and you're taking them to soccer practice, when you have them kind of trapped in the car with you for that beach trip and you're road tripping for a few hours, you have influence in your children's lives. Then it's bedtime. Bedtime is one of those times where if you've ever worked with young kids, you're working to establish routines and get them ready to go to bed, right? And so a part of that routine, if we're doing it right, is we're working our spiritual influence into our kids' lives during that time, because you have influence at bedtime. And then when you lie down and when you get up in the morning. in the morning. I don't know about you, but I just find that my heart is very impressionable early in the morning. And if things go right and the right things kind of are said, it kind of sets the platform for a great day. Our kids are kind of like that too, that when we love them well in the morning, we have that influence to set a platform for them to have a great day. I don't know if you look over that and you're like, man, that seems like so much work. That's a challenge. Well, here's what I know about parenting. Whether you're a mom or you're a dad today, parenting is filled with challenges. It just is. There's challenges when your kids make you laugh and you're trying to discipline them. And then there's challenges that come when they've disappointed you and you didn't never think that they would do the thing that they've done, but there they are having done it. And it's challenging. It's challenging when you're kind of at the end of your strength and there's more to do. Parenting is filled with challenge. Now, today you might be experiencing that. You might be leaning into a season where you sense that challenge. See, I believe God wants to show us something about that. Well, before we talk about challenges, I'm so excited to have my mom with us today. Now, Mom, why don't you take a moment and introduce yourself to everybody?
Hi, I'm Rose. I'm Kevin's mom, and I've been with Vortex since day one on the staff. And I'm just so glad to be here today and just want you to know how much I miss my church family and wish I could hug each one of you.
So, Mom, as we just kind of think about the challenges that come with being a parent, what was one of your biggest challenges that you faced as a mother?
I think probably the biggest challenge I faced was in the early years with having children, having a career, and being a wife, and it was to find balance. I mean, it was very hectic in my house. You already know that. And just finding that kind of quality time that I could give my kids so that they would know I was invested in them. So that was probably the biggest challenge I faced, so they'd know that they were the most important thing to me.
Yeah. And, you worked full time as a mom, and we were a very close-knit family growing up. And so, our evenings were really important and our weekends were really important. And but you also, you worked a really high stress, corporate job that demanded a lot of your attention at times. And so how would you describe it, navigating that tension of feeling like, all right, I'm called to do this. I want to do this job. I'm passionate about it. But also those other two areas where I want to be a great wife, but I want to be a mom that's present with my kids. How did you navigate that?
Well, I had to learn to shut it off. When I left work every day, I had to learn to say, this is it. The rest of the day belongs to Al, Kevin, and Gina. And so when we got home, it was a big deal to gather around the table for supper. I mean, it was a big deal. That's where we caught up with the kids and found out what their day was like. And so I think it's really important that you have some time where you're just focused. As a family, you're just focused.
Yeah. And then weekends were a big deal. So in our house, when we were kids, Saturday morning was a big time where we cleaned. It was chore time. All right, because we didn't worry about that so much during the week, and so do you remember how we navigated that scene, especially when we were young, when we had practices and games and a house to clean? How did you navigate that challenge?
I don't even remember it being a challenge. It became just how we did things. I mean, the kids knew they had responsibilities, and of course, if they didn't do them, I was on their case about it. But we learned. And I also had to tell you that I bribed them a little bit because if they cleaned up early, then we got to do more fun things, and that was an incentive, for them. But we gave our kids the weekend. We had, it was family time.
Yep, and there was never anything that we were told we couldn't do. because we had responsibilities, at home, or because you had responsibilities. Now, there were times your job would require even more of your time. It would require nights and weekends and those. And so obviously that's when there's one of those things that you feel called to do. I feel called to do this, this, and this, and it feels like this one is just taking over. How do you navigate that challenge?
Well, thankfully, I had a husband who was as committed as I was to raising our kids. So a lot of times when I had the responsibility and had to go back into work, we worked it out. So Al took over. And if he had to, he put the kids to bed and put you and Gina to bed. And so we were in a partnership. We worked together to do that.
Right. So it takes help. It takes help to do that.
It does.
And it takes effort to lean into the challenge. You might be here today and thinking, I can identify with that. I can identify with those challenges. I'm that mom I desperately want to be a good wife. I want to be a good employee, but I really want to be a good mom. I think that sometimes when we're facing challenges, we can really take a perspective that's not real helpful. And so let me just kind of give you something that I think will help you. See, a challenge doesn't indicate a flaw in the design. A lot of times we face challenges and we hit that moment where we're kind of getting challenged and we go, you know what? There's something wrong with this. It's not supposed to be like this. There has to be something wrong with the design of this situation. That's not always true. A challenge doesn't indicate a flaw in the design. Often, challenges indicate an opportunity to grow. Challenges often indicate an opportunity to grow. Now, today, you might be here, and you might be facing a challenging season, whether you're a mom or whether you're not. What I want you to know is that challenge that's in your life right now is actually an opportunity for you to grow. Now, I think if we take a step back and we look at our lives, many of us would say, you know what? I need to grow. I haven't arrived. I'm not the person that I could be. I know who I could be one day. I know who God's kind of called me to be. I'm not that person right now. I'm on the journey of getting better. But you know when you say that about yourself, there's some things that you're kind of confessing. And the first thing, and if you're taking notes, I'd write this down. It's what we're confessing when we say that I need to grow. The first one is that you're admitting you're not perfect. Now, many of us know, hey, I'm not perfect. But when people tell you that you're not perfect, you get offended. Right? You get, what you're telling me that I didn't do that right, but I know I'm not perfect. But no, you're not perfect. If you need to grow, you know that you haven't arrived, then that shouldn't be a shock to you, right? I know, okay, yeah, I need to grow. I know I'm not perfect, okay? I know. It shouldn't unhinge you. It shouldn't offend you. I know that. And the second thing is, if you say, I need to grow, you're admitting that you need to change. That who you are is not who you should be or not who you could be. I need to change. Now, the thing about change is change sounds wonderful until you start stepping into that change, because then it becomes painful. Change is painful. The adaptation and adjustments that are required to step into change are painful. I think that the book of Hebrews reflects on this in Hebrews 12, verse 11. This is a verse we've leaned into quite a bit, where it says, no discipline seems pleasant at the time, but it's painful. Later on, however, it produces a harvest of righteousness and peace, that's change, for those who have been trained by it. Now, think about that. The Bible is saying, listen, it's going to be painful. The adjustments and adaptations that come when you begin to receive a challenge as an invitation to change, it's going to be painful. But in the end, because of that pain, there's going to be good change, a harvest of righteousness and peace. Well, Mom, we talked about how motherhood was challenging. But I'd love to hear how you'd say motherhood changed you.
Well, this one's easy because I can tell you without a doubt, the day that you were born and when I held you for the very first time, I realized that there was this person who was totally dependent on me. And before that, I don't want to sound selfish, but before that, it was just me and Al, and we'd been married almost 5 years, and I just was overwhelmed with the idea that here's this little person who now it's up to me. I mean, I'm his mom. And so I have to say that probably that knowing that somebody depended on me for everything was a little bit overwhelming. And yet at the same time, the best feeling I'd ever felt in my life.
I don't remember a time in my life when a thought ever occurred to me that you or Dad wouldn't be there for me. It was whether it was I'm in college and I feel like I'd been accepted into graduate school and showed up to start class and just felt the Lord say, no, this isn't for you. And I called and you guys were willing to drive up and help me get my stuff and come home. Or whether it was a few months into a new career and owning my first house and not budgeting really well and overspending and needing a little bit of money to pay my power bill, or whether it's, in this season, if it's been, hey, we need some help with our kids or whatever. I've never been in a situation where as a child I have felt like you wouldn't be there or couldn't be there for me, especially in any terms that would be considered reasonable. So tell me how that is that you would take on, you'd shift from being, I'm living my own life and I'm finding fulfillment in that, to now I'm caring for someone else. There's this human who's now drifted through several stages of life, but they need me and I'm there for them. Tell me how that changes your heart throughout your life.
Well, I think that our job as a parent is to work ourselves out of a job. So I think we have to be really invested in every part of their life to give them the roots, the wings, to move them to the next place, until finally one day you're letting them off on their own. It's not easy. I mean, I shed a lot of tears when you went to school that first day, and when you finished high school, and when you left and went to college, and when you got married. I mean, I'm going to cry at anything, but I was still celebrating every time you met a challenge in your life, and you were stronger because of it, and you were able to do things.
Yeah. I think that it's there's an art as a parent of navigating those different stages of life and holding on and letting go all at the same time. And I'm super thankful that you guys navigated that really well, especially as we entered adulthood. And we're so thankful that you were that parent that was there, even as it was challenging you and changing you. Right now, if you're in the season of feeling challenged, especially if you're one of our moms and you're here today and you're like, this right now it just feels like such a challenging season for me. Can I just share something? You won't grow unless you're challenged. I mean, we long for comfort. We want that nicer bed, that more comfortable couch, that bigger house, even the nicer car. And a lot of times, the more that we pursue comfort, when we arrive in a place in our lives where we are comfortable, we sit we don't move. It is challenge, those things that make you uncomfortable, that challenge you, that provoke us to change. So right now, if you're feeling challenged in this season, what's going on is you actually have a big invitation to change. So do this. Let God use the challenges you're facing to change you. Just give them to God, lean into what He's teaching you through this season, and let Him use the challenges to change you. Because if you're not being challenged, it's not going to change you. And right now in our season, if we say, hey, I need to grow, then we're saying, I need to change. Let God use those things that are challenging you to change you and push you in the direction that we often know we need to go. So, Mom, as we get ready to wrap things up today, for all the moms that are out there watching today, those who are maybe parenting some unruly little kids, again, you probably know nothing about that. Some who are parenting some middle schoolers who just have no clue how to act right. Again, you probably know nothing about that. Some high schoolers who are being rebellious and doing their own thing. You probably don't know anything about that either. Maybe some kids who are in their young adult years and they have no idea what they want to do with their life. Again, you probably have no idea. Actually, you have a lot of idea because you parented me. I went through all of those stages. If you could speak to those moms today, what would you tell them?
I would tell them to be present where they are, to enjoy every single phase their child goes through. Just soak it up. I know there are days when you are going to go to bed and you are going to be, why did I choose to be a mom? But when you look back over it, you will be so glad you took the time and you just invested in them. You hugged them, you loved them, you let them know they were cherished. And you just suffered through it, because let me tell you, I'm going to tell you, you will get through it. You will get through every phase, and you will love it. When you look back on it, you will be so happy you chose to be a mom.
You know, as a mom, you have a tremendous amount of influence over your children. And while it is a lot of work, and there are things that you want for your kids, and right now, some of you are like, I just want my kids to go back to school. I just want my kids to go back to daycare. I just want my kids out of the house. Can they just go to grandma and grandpa's for a weekend? I understand that. But just think about our lives. A lot of times what we do with our kids, we want them to do good in school. We want them to do good at sports. We even want them to be good people. We use our influence in our kids' lives to push them in that direction. Can I just encourage you with something? Use the influence that you have in your children's lives to push them to Jesus. Lean into this season, because I promise you that probably right now in this season, you have more influence in your children's lives than you've ever had before. And right now, you have the potential to make a bigger spiritual impact in their lives than you've ever had before. But the only way that's going to happen is if you have a vibrant relationship with Jesus. If your relationship is alive with our Lord. Sometimes when we face challenges, what happens is instead of leaning in to Him, we let it push us away. We kind of let the difficulty and the season of life kind of create a distance that doesn't need to be there. So let me give you this one parting idea. Let the pain of the challenge drive you to Jesus, not away from Him. You never know how strong God can be in you until you've hit the limit of your strength. You never know the wisdom of God until you've come to the end of your ideas. You never experience the direction of God until you get to a place where you have no idea which way to go. Right now in this season, let the challenge that you're facing lean yourself and your relationship with God into Jesus. He's there with you. He wants to be alive for you. So can we take a moment right now and pray? I want to pray for you. And I believe that right now God is doing something in your life. So let's pray together. God, we just come before you. And we thank you for the challenges. Yes, we thank you for the challenges. Because we recognize that in every challenge in our lives, there is an invitation to a new level of obedience, a new level of wisdom, a new level of power, a new level of direction in our lives. It is hidden within that challenge. God, let us receive the challenge as an invitation, knowing that there is change that can happen in our lives and in our hearts as we navigate the challenges in life. Specifically for the moms that are watching today, the moms that feel overwhelmed. God, I pray for a sense of peace as they rely on you. I pray for a sense of strength to come as they pray at the end of their strength. God, I pray for you to give them wisdom where they have no ideas. I pray right now for you to give them direction where they have no clue what to do next. God, speak to them, lead them, guide them, encourage them, and do it in the name of Jesus. So right now, everybody look at me. I think there are some of us right now that we realize that right now in this moment, you have such significant influence in your child's life that maybe right now you're realizing, you know what, I haven't navigated this season the way I need to. Right now, I haven't leaned into my relationship with Jesus the way I need to. And right now's the moment for you to just say, I'm going to get this right. God, I'm sorry for doing things my own way. I'm sorry for being selfish. I want my relationship to be right with you so that I have something to hand off to those that I love. Maybe right now is that moment for you to stay. Just to say to God, I surrender to you. I choose Jesus. Right now, if you're watching our online campus, there's going to be something that comes up. You can click that button that says, I surrender my life to, I raise my hand. Maybe today, if you're in the chat on Facebook or on YouTube, you can text in, and you can text in, I choose, to the number that's provided by your host right now. Wherever you are right now is a moment that you can say yes to Jesus. Because that yes will forever alter what you have to give. Some of you feel like right now, I don't have anything to give. I'm at the end of my rope. As long as you have Jesus, you have something to give. And right now, it could forever alter what you have to give in your life by choosing to say, I surrender my life to Him. It's a moment for you right now to do that. We're here for you. We want to pray for you. If you're on our online campus, you can request live prayer. Even if you're with us right now, you can text in and we'll be able, as a staff, to pray with you. We're so thankful. This is a decision that will change everything. And as you process that, let's take a moment and watch this video.
The sun
ransomed me. His grace runs deep. While I was a slave to sin, Jesus died for me. Yes, he died for me. Who the Son sets free, oh, is free indeed. I'm a child of God. Yes, I am. In my Father's house, there's a place for me. I'm a child of God. Yes, I am. I'm chosen. I am chosen, not forsaken. I am who you say I am. You are for me, not against me. I am who you say I am. I am chosen, not forsaken. I am who you say I am. You are for me, not against me. I am who you say I am. Oh, I am who you say I am. Who the Son sets free, oh, is free indeed. I'm a child of God. Yes, I am. In my Father's house, there's a place for me. I'm a child of God. Yes, I am.
Well, thanks so much for being with us today for Church Online, Church in Your Living Room. We're so blessed to be a part of your Mother's Day. Now, here's what can I just share something? I'm so excited about this. We have this coming up this week, this Thursday night. We're doing a special service called A Night of Hope. It will only be at our online campus. We'll announce the times a little bit later, and we want you to be there with us because I have a very special friend. It's a guy I grew up with. We were roommates in college. He was my best man. When I got married, I was his. His name's Josh Baldwin. He's a worship leader, travels all over the world. He's from Albemarle, and he's one of my very good friends. And so we're going to be sharing A Night of Hope this Thursday night. Don't miss it, okay? Because it's going to be a hope-filled evening as we worship and hear from the Lord together. Now, we've announced earlier that we're giving away several $100 gift cards to Amazon today. And I'm going to give you the last letters and numbers that you need to text in today. You're going to text 97,000, 97000. And you're going to use the ones that you got at the very beginning and the ones in the middle. And then here are the last ones. 0M11. 0M11. No spaces in between all of them. Text them in to 97000. And what will happen is you'll be entered into a drawing to be one of those who will be a recipient of the $100 Amazon gift cards. We're so thankful to be able to spend some time with you this morning. Now, as we get ready to go today, can I remind you of a few things? The first thing is this, real simple. You're not alone. You're not alone. Not only are we here for you, but God has never left you. He's not a God who would lie to you or forsake you. He's with you. Lean into his presence right now. And lastly, God's got this. This season didn't surprise him. More importantly than that, God's got you. God's holding you. He's sustaining you, and he's going to carry you through this. We believe that. We can't wait to see you as we gather again on Thursday night for a night of hope. Have a wonderful afternoon.
Come on, sweetie. Oh, honey, you've got something on your face.
Mom! Way to go, Jake! Good job, buddy! You got this! Go, Slugger! Yeah! Mom!
Did you brush your teeth? Did you really brush your teeth? Let me smell your breath.
Mom!
Okay, Jake, honey, this is the only thing I can find, all right?
Mom!
Yeah, it's a compound fracture.
I'm sorry, sweetheart. You're gonna be okay.
Mom?
Well, you have a good set of crutches?
Seriously, Jake, what am I going to do with you?
Mom.
Hi, Jake.
Hi.
Ooh, she's really cute.
Mom.
Mom?
Not a chance. I left all that behind.
Mom.
Jake, sit up straight, honey.
Mom.
Mom! Mom!
Mom.
Hi, you look so handsome. I'm so proud of you. You've got something on your face.
Mom.